Hello and a nice Saturday to everyone out there. We are recording this for posting on YouTube, and I have on the Gray Hair Odd Couple channel, I have a young person, as you can see, a beautiful young woman, because I still am not able to talk the other half of the Gray Hair Odd Couple into coming in front of the camera. She still tells me she is a bit shy. So, I volunteer on a lot of work. And I understand that you actually do paid work for the company that I do volunteer work for. Is that correct?
That is correct.
What do you do?
I would describe my position as a backflow tester, inspector.
Now, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people out there that are going to want to know what the heck is a backflow.
Well, a backflow is basically a prevention assembly that is tested on an annual basis from the county that we live in. It's different based off of where you live, but in our county, it's tested on an annual basis just to make sure that the device is performing properly and that you have protected water and the county has protected water. It prevents any type of cross contamination.
So you do a lot of physical work.
Yes, a lot of physical work out in the field during the hot heat of the summer and the cold, cold winter.
Now, is what got you into this type of work?
Honestly, I started at another company, but I was only working in the office, and I found that it was very difficult um, to learn things when you weren't as hands-on. Like I would talk to some of the people that would be certified for the position, and it was like a foreign language to me when I first started. You have no idea what the heck they're talking about. But once I got interested, I wanted to get certified so that way I could get more hands-on with it. Unfortunately, at that company, I didn't have the opportunity to get certified to understand more, but I was very passionate about the industry. So once I went to the company I'm now at, they actually did give me the opportunity to get certified, and it was probably one of the best decisions I made for myself.
Now, does this kind of run in your family with your father and your mother that they have jobs that are kind of hand-on and a lot of outdoor work?
Yeah, I'd say I relate more to my dad's field of work. He actually works for the county that we live in, and he works for the water department. So we're actually very close. I'm the backflow, and he's the water meter. So very close.
Since you're out in the field working a lot then, do you come in contact with people?
It depends. A lot of the time during the day, I'd say like Monday through Friday, I don't come into contact with very many people. A lot of people do have jobs and stuff during the day, or they aren't home at the time that you come by. So you don't really get to interact with a lot of people. I'd say I interact with more people on the weekends. Like when I was working on Saturday or Sunday, I would get a lot more people coming outside to communicate with me, especially like, why are you turning off my water?
So that's funny. So when you do the work that you do, you have to actually turn somebody's water off to complete the task?
Yes. You don't get, well, I can't say you won't get accurate results, but you won't get the same results if you have the water turned off.
Now, when you have the opportunity to talk to people, are they in their attitude towards you when you're doing the work? Do you find it to be something that is positive or negative?
That also depends. Sometimes the county that we work for can contract us to come out there. So a lot of times the customer has no idea what we're doing on their property. So I take that time to just explain the whole situation, how it's tested on an annual basis, and how they contracted us to come out there. Some people are understanding, and some people, like I said, it's like a foreign language to them. They have no idea what we're trying to say. The people that do hire us to come out there, that's a different story. They are very kind, usually, most of the time. And as long as all goes well with their test, they're usually always in a good mood. However, sometimes if the test fails, then that can be a different story. But you just do the best you can to explain the situation, why it failed, and you can just let them know if they need more information, they can call the office, and the office definitely can give them more information.
So the company that you work for, we're not going to identify any company or anything like that, but the company that you're working for, when they have you go out, do they supply the equipment and the vehicle? Is that a part of your job, or is this something that you're like a subcontractor?
Yes, my company does provide the vehicle that we use, and they do provide the equipment that we use.
Right. So you would not be considered a subcontractor then?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure there's a big distinction between that, because on my volunteer work, I run into a lot of contractors in the new building that's going on in the county, and the stories I hear are horrendous.
I'm sure.
So, now, there's a big age difference between you and myself. This channel is the Gray Hair Odd Couple, and it's the battle between the ages, is what it's really all about. Because since I do volunteer work, I have an opportunity to talk to a lot more people. Everything from, as a matter of fact, yesterday I had the opportunity to meet what I call a little princess who was, only 5 years old, and she came running out to where I was working, and I said, "Well, hello, little princess. How do you react towards the wee ones that come out when you're out there?"
I've had good interactions, and I've had, unfortunately, some not great interactions. I will say I feel like I was being harassed one day by a young child. He just kept following me, and he was using inappropriate language towards me. Um, so I actually did end up going and talking to his mother that day to make sure that she knew what he was out there doing, because it is a dangerous world, like I know when I was raised, I was told to always respect my elders, and even though I may not look old, I am still an elder to younger children, and I was always taught to use respect towards my elders. So the fact that I see some young kids using the language that they use these days, and how young of an age, it's just a little bit shocking to me. But I have had some good interactions too with some children, but I don't usually see children out in the day, to be honest. Like, a lot of times they're in school when I'm out there. Or sometimes I do see younger children, like walking with their grandparents, or like walking the dogs down the sidewalk. And it just warms my heart because I love to see children having good relationships with their grandparents.
Now, you say grandparents. What age and up do you think grandparents fit into?
Well, they honestly can start, I'd say, any range from 40 to, I'd say, 60. Um, they can happen younger than that if, the children do have their kids young, and then their kids have children young. Sometimes it is kind of a cycle when that happens. But yeah, I'd say grandparents would probably be in the range between like 40 and 60 when they become grandparents.
Now, do you, in not just your daily life at work, but in your life in general, do you come in contact with very many of those people, say, that are in that 50 to 80 age group?
In my personal life,
Mm-hmm.
mm, maybe just like my family, or sometimes if I'm out in public, I do interact with the older generation. Like if I'm at the flea market or something, I did talk to one of the older people there for probably like 30 minutes just because I wanted to hear their background. And like I said, I know we didn't get the chance to share what we talked about last time, but I think the biggest problem between the generations is we don't get the time to understand where we come from. It like you were talking about last time, the language barrier or talking in what was it, acronyms. It's difficult for us to be able to understand each other because we don't know what you came from. I like last week I believe we talked about, some of your background, and it was very interesting to hear what you've done in your life and where you've come from because I didn't know that before, but it gave me a deeper insight to you.
So now you just know how dumb I am.
No,
That's
no. I wouldn't say dumb. I'd say that you've done some exciting things in your life.
well, I think we all have. And I think a lot of people that watch this video as it begins to get watched out there, they're going to be quite surprised. You do not have the appearance of somebody who, and to me, that sounds like plumbing work that you're doing, or the equipment that you're testing is in that industry.
Yes.
And I don't think you're the normal person that we find out there.
No, it's really funny actually. Sometimes I do, like when I'm just testing the backflow or something out there, I see people driving by and they're just like looking at me like, is that a girl out there doing that? And I'm like, yes, yes, it is.
Uh, that brings me to an interesting point. I just recently, this week, while I was doing volunteer work, I ran across a young couple that they, a couple of years ago, they wanted to buy a home and they bought a home. They bought 2 new cars and now they're struggling and they're having a very difficult time despite the fact that they have no children and both of them work full time. In my experience from my generation, it would have been very difficult to make a decision to buy a new home and get new cars at the same time without thinking of, you know, 3 to 5 years down the road.
Hmm.
When you look at your life, now, do you own your own home?
I do not. I currently rent.
That's probably a smart decision in this economy.
Yes.
Now, do you have your own vehicle?
Yes.
All
I
right,
do
so
have my vehicle. I just paid it off last year, my first vehicle I've ever paid off. So I'm very proud of that.
and you should be, I we're certainly not going to tell anybody your age, but I think at any age, once you pay your first vehicle off, that's a pretty good feeling.
Yes.
Looking at what's going on in the world today, I hear a lot of talk amongst all age groups that I come in contact with, and I take a lot of time to talk with all of them, as many as I can. And the ones that I go into, I find a lot of people that are out and about, a lot of people that work from home. People are very concerned about this sending our boys to fight in wars again. What is your feeling as somebody who's in a younger generation? There's probably at least 50 years difference in our age groups. I personally, as a Vietnam vet, I hate to see this going on. What is your feeling on that?
I feel like if we had to send our boys, like my generation, into war, unfortunately, like I don't know if they'd even have an idea what to do with themselves. Just because of how, I don't want to say sheltered, but they've never really been exposed to that kind of stuff. Like, and I don't really feel like they take enough time to understand your generation, like the wars, that your generation has fought. They don't take the time to understand that. So I don't even know if they would know what to do. I really hope that they would if it came down to that situation. I really hate that all of this is going on myself. I hate to see it in the world. I'd love to see a lot more peace, but unfortunately, that's not how it works out for us.
Now, do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have a sister, yes.
But no brothers.
No brothers.
Okay. Your sister, is she older or younger?
Older.
Older?
Mm-hmm.
But she's not connected to anything military.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. The company that you work for, are there other females that work in the field like you do?
Yeah, we're actually mostly a female owned and operated company. We have a lot of females that work out in the field, and they are honestly what gave me the inspiration to get out there. I'm like, geez, if they can do it, I know I can.
Well, something tells me there's probably not much that you would not be able to succeed at. Just sitting here listening to you talk, I have a feeling that you would be successful at whatever endeavor you decided to go into. I want to drill down now on one particular age group. That is the 65 and up. Now, I'm an octogenarian. So at 80 years old, I hate to say this, but it is my age group that has bankrupted the country. We have a debt crisis in the United States that is unfortunately going to have to be picked up by people in your age group. It is sad. I don't like it. So, what is your feeling towards the rich old white men that dominate our politics, and what should we do about it?
Honestly, I I'd say vote. All you can really do is vote for the people that you think have a better interest, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be someone in charge. You just want to make sure that it's somebody with the best interest for the people that live in this country. Um, Unfortunately, we've always had people in control of that. It's not really much that we have control over besides when we vote. That's the biggest voice that we really get, or we could petition things, but at the end of the day, how far do petitions really get us?
Well, that's a fair point. I'm going to be a little rougher on them. They are the rich white men that are in Washington, D.C. right now. They should not be there, and voting is the only way they should be out of office. I don't believe in assassination or kidnapping like we as a country have done, our leaders have done. It's through the vote. How many presidential elections have you been able to vote in now? Multiple?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say how many because that would probably throw my age
Right.
out there,
No,
but
that's why I just said multiple.
multiple, yes.
Yeah. The age group, the 65 and up, I hear all the time from them when I speak with them. They think that they are kind of discarded by the younger generations. Like they're a throwaway generation. You've already lived your life, just shut up and, we'll take care of everything. Or they don't understand what the big deal about Social Security is. Because right now, if you're, say, 18 to 50, you're not too worried about Social Security. But people 50 and over, and especially 65 and over, and 75 and over especially, because our entire lives we've paid into it. Now you're starting very young and paying into Social Security. Do you know what you're going to expect out of your benefits with Social Security when the time comes?
I do not. I honestly don't have a whole lot of knowledge when it comes to that stuff. And that's what I mean by like my generation, I feel like is going to be in some trouble when it comes to certain times because we just don't really pay attention to the things that we need to. And I can even speak for myself on that front.
Well, and I think that's another fair point you've made there. I think the younger generation needs to become more involved and more aware of what they're going to face in the future. What do you expect out of the next decade that you're looking at? What do you believe is going to happen to society in general and jobs in general?
Unfortunately, my opinion is AI is going to go a lot farther than people might think it's going to go. I hope it doesn't go in a bad way, but they're already talking about AI replacing jobs and replacing people, and you're not going to have to work one day. And that's what I see in the future. It's already taken off this fast, and how long? I mean, it's pretty scary to think about, but I would like to see it not advance so much. I would like to see technology not be so in our faces every day. I miss the old days where technology wasn't so big and you saw kids out playing in the street. And I don't know, all I ever see anymore is people with their face down in their phones or on a computer, or I'm guilty myself. I can't say anything, but it's the generation I've grown up in. But I would like to see a society where maybe there's a common medium. Like maybe we can have a little bit of technology, but we can still take time to go outside and appreciate nature and get to know people and socialize. And it's not all about staying inside.
I think you're probably a more well balanced young person than many of those that I run into when I do my volunteer work. One of my big complaints about the younger age group, and I'm going to say younger, say 18 all the way up to 40, they have very little respect for their neighborhoods. When they leave in the morning to go to work, the posted sign will be anywhere from 15 to 25 miles an hour. And sometimes I have to jump out of the way because they're just speeding down the street.
I agree.
And they do it like they don't care. So from my perspective, I think that they lack a lot of respect for all age groups and all people. I have been driving, wow, let's see, 65 years now, is when I first got my license 65 years ago. Now, have you had any traffic citations?
I did have one citation, and I will say I disagree. I don't believe I should have gotten that ticket, but I didn't have the money to fight it, so I had to get it paid. But it was after a hurricane, to be fair, and I went to a different state, let's say. I went to a different state during the hurricane. It was very big hurricane, biggest one we've had in a long time. And I ended up going to a different state. Well, when I came back, it was in the middle of the night, and on this specific street, there is probably 5 or 6 traffic lights in a row. One of them was not working due to the storm, and at that time of night, it wasn't only me, it was also my brother-in-law that was driving. So we were in 2 separate cars, and they pulled both of us over and gave both of us a ticket because we didn't see the traffic light that was out.
Now, did you take a class or did you have to pay a fine?
I did have to pay the ticket, and they did give me the opportunity to take some kind of online course to not get the points on my license.
Well, at least one good thing came about from it then.
Yes, I didn't get the points, but I wish I wouldn't have got that ticket in the first place.
So I want to get back to the way that people are acting, another thing that bothers me when I'm out and about doing the work that I do, the volunteer work, for some reason, now I don't think I have the appearance of a crook, a criminal, a bad guy, somebody who's out to hurt somebody. But the number of women that, young women, that cross the street to avoid walking past me is amazing to me. Older women will just stroll right along. Hey, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
What is up with that?
I can say for myself, I would probably be guilty. I would definitely be the person walking on the other side of the street just because it's a scary world we live in. You never know. Like, it could be the sweetest looking person, and you hear what they do, and you're like, I would have never thought that in a million years. And it's just a scary world we live in. I can't blame the women.
Well, I do. I mean, well, I
Well,
think,
you just know you have a good heart and you know that you would never do that. So it probably makes you feel some type of way about it. But there are people out there, unfortunately, that give not only men, but everyone a bad name. I don't even trust a lot of ladies these days. If it's a random lady on the street, I don't, I have trust issues with a lot of people. Um, but it's usually people that try to make you feel safe or try to wean you in some type of way. That's usually the people that you got to watch out for. Um, it's always, like I said, the people you would least expect. I watch all these news stories on the news, and I'm like, who would have thought in a million years that that man or that woman would have done that crime?
well, I think you're correct there. Observation, the power of observation is something that really, it needs to be developed. Um, and for all the mothers that are out there in this world, you really need to teach your children how to be observant.
Yes.
I don't mind it when the little kids run up to me, but I always try to emphasize to them that do you have your mommy's or daddy's permission if they're not really within my eyesight, because I worry about young kids.
Oh, I do too. And like I said, the one that was following me down the street, I felt harassed. I had to go and talk to his mother because I wanted her to know what her child's out here doing. I want her to know how her child's speaking to people. I told her child, you should not be talking to strangers, especially in that manner. Um, I think it's very important. You need to stress to your children. They need to stay safe. They need to be respectful. They need to be observant. Um, Stop just letting your child go like this to a tablet 24/7. Talk to them. Apologize for my nails, they're a little bit chipped, but
That's
talk to
fine.
your children. Make sure they know. Make sure they know that you love them. You want them to be safe. You want them to have the best head on their shoulders that they possibly can for this future that they're facing.
I am in total agreement with that. And I'd like, the one thing I would like to add to that is it's all right, all you women that cross the street when I'm out there, that's okay. You know, you don't really hurt my feelings because I understand why they're doing it. And some of the people that I see that are out there working in the field, especially the males with the big pot bellies and the butt cracks and all of that, you know, if I were, I mean, I don't even like to look at them. I, I try to avoid them. And there's a 7-Eleven store that everybody in my area where I work goes into, and it's all the different companies and a lot of people from the county. I see a lot of Manatee County workers there, and I've gotten to know a lot of them. And I just sometimes I don't understand, you know, they their hands are filthy and they'll go in to start getting some of the food that's heating up,
Mm-hmm.
that they're cooking. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not going to be getting any of that anytime soon, not after watching them reach in for that." And, they're in all age groups, young, old. It doesn't matter, just very poor manners. And for all of you people out there, and I don't care if you're young or old, watch it. When you go in to handle food, be thoughtful of others. Please. I like to eat also. I don't look like it, but I do. Yeah, I've lost more weight.
Well, I agree on that. But then you have like the people with no manners. I don't know if you saw, but there was the people that were going around licking the unopened ice cream containers before you could even get it. Did you hear about that?
No.
It was awful. I don't recommend even looking into it, but they would literally take the unopened container of ice cream, open it up, and before you could even get it home and eat it. In my opinion, charges should be pressed. That should be illegal.
And licking it.
Licking it. Yes. Disgusting. I don't know. I can't even, I don't even want to claim my generation. I don't.
Well, anybody that's doing that, and I will say this, there are a lot of people that are 65 and older that they are really struggling. Now, things are different. Young people today, they have many more job opportunities than what the 65 to and up age group did. I was very limited in what was available when I was young, and today there was a lot more available to younger people. So they're finding it much easier to buy a home, buy new cars, and it's amazing to me how I see some of the, say, 18 to 40-year-olds dress. Um, they think nothing of having the men having these big, heavy gold chains on, and women with, I see them with rings on all their fingers and thumbs. They're buying things with no thought of, what if we have another recession? What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
A lot of them, have they ever even experienced a recession? Um, like I said, if people haven't really experienced it or know what to expect, they don't know what they're gonna get hit with when it comes to time. A lot of people these days, their issue, I'd say, especially between that age range, is materialism. Not everything materialistic. Yeah, it might be worth something in the store, but like, you buy it a lot of times, it sits on a shelf, or you wear it once or twice, and then what happens to it? You don't wear it again, you get rid of it, it breaks. I think there's a lot of value more in life experiences than there are with things that are materialistic. Like, I would rather spend a bunch of money and go have a good time than to buy something because it's name brand, or because it looks nice and I can show it off to people.
I'm going to pause the recording right now, and we'll pick it up. I'm going to pause it right there. I'm trying to bait you into saying some things that I can pounce on.
Okay.
You're being, no, this is very good, because you have such perfect responses.
Thank you.
It's very difficult too, and because what I want to do is I want to make some people out there mad. And I don't care if they're in the 65 to 80 age group, and I don't want to talk so much this time. I really want you to be more and more active because I think you come across really well.
Thank
You
you.
are articulate. You have a good voice. So we're going to start the recording again. And, you know, if I say something that you really don't agree with, really jump on it. You're not going to offend me,
Okay.
you know. All right, so we're now back into recording mode. Now, for those of you that are in my age group, 65 to 80, quit your complaining. True. Stop complaining. Stop talking about how, well, when I was young, or, you know, when I had to go to school, we had to walk 5 miles in the snow. Stop all of that. Knock it off. Quit it. Nobody wants to hear about it. Just because the kids today don't have to do any of that, that doesn't mean that you had it any worse than anybody else in your age group. And the same thing goes for the kids that are 18 to, say, 50 years old. Stop your complaining about old people. I may have gray hair, but that's because I cared a lot. And I have a lot of wrinkles, but that's because I laughed a lot. Don't get on me because I'm old. If you're lucky, you're going to have the same thing, gray hair and wrinkles, and you will get old, unless you get run over or get shot, as he says in the song in Sublime, What I Got.
Love is
It's
what I got.
right. And too many people out there, you're chronic complainers. Stop it. And I don't care if you're male or female, I hear it. And I'm tired of listening to it. I like going out and doing my volunteer work, but I don't like hearing everybody complain. Now, these devices that you talked about, that you go out and you test,
Yes.
is it expensive to a customer to get it tested?
Well, it depends on the company that you go with. I wouldn't consider it too expensive. It's more expensive for the county that you live in to contract somebody to come out there and test it than it is to hire someone yourself and to have it tested.
But if it's only once a year, is it what, like $100?
No, doesn't have to be depending on the company you use. Ours, fortunately, is between $30, $40.
Well, that's not a whole lot of money. So you people that are out there complaining about this stuff, if you complain about $30 to $40, geez, what, you know, you probably spend that much on beer or alcohol or cigarettes.
Or your nails, or a purse, or some sunglasses.
Makeup. I mean, we're spending money on things that, are they really worth it? Look at all the women and the makeup they wear now. I see these influencers on the internet, on YouTube, and they look like they're plastic.
Yes.
They have so much makeup on. I'm glad that my wife doesn't use makeup. She may look like an old, wrinkled old bat, but she's my gray-haired, wrinkled old bat.
She's a beautiful old bat.
I think so. But, you know, these are all things that really become an issue, because if we do start to see inflation rise and we see the economy slowing, people are going to have to cut some things out. And that includes young people that are probably not prepared for that. Those car payments and those high house payments because they wanted to live in a really nice house, despite the fact that they were really pushing the limit for their monthly payment. And that's what it really boils down to. So people in your age group, yeah, you have a whole host of complaints and you need to stop complaining about them. I noticed when you came in today, you're dressed very nice.
Thank you.
And now, I don't know how much you spend for your clothing. I don't want to get into that, but it just seems to me that if you're renting, you're living on your own, you just paid your car off, you're being a responsible young woman. And I'm sure that all the young women out there are not necessarily being the same responsible young women. So, what do you have to say to those that are overspending?
Stop spending. um, have self-discipline is the best way I can describe it. I love to go to the store, but my boyfriend, he will always get on me because I'll pick up like 10 things in the store and he'll be like, "Ooh, I really like this." And I'll carry it about halfway through the store with me. And then probably about 5 or 10 minutes later, I'll be like, "You know what? I don't really need this." And I'll put it back on the shelf and he'll be like, "Why do you always do that?" And I'm like, the thought of having it makes me happy, so just carrying it around the store for a little bit makes me feel like I've got my little fix in. And then once I tell myself I don't need it, I put it back on the shelf. And guess what stays with me? My money. I don't spend my money. I'm very self-disciplined when it comes to shopping. I'm more of a shopper for other people than I am myself.
Now, you told me last week that your boyfriend has a nickname.
Yes, he
Oh,
goes by Goose, like the bird.
Goose.
Yes,
So now, did you talk with Goose about going on YouTube?
I sure did, and he's very excited to join us.
All right. So next week, we're going to bring Goose up here and we're going to get him on at the same time. And be sure to let him know that um, I'm going to be picking on you guys a little bit next week.
Uh-oh.
Well, I want to get some argument out there. I want to get some of these complainers calling in. Um, there are a lot of things being said amongst the age groups, and it's time for people to be able to air them out and realize that, what they're thinking about, what they're complaining about, really has no basis in fact. And I have a little riddle that I want to pose to you. What is the most mythical creature on Earth?
A unicorn?
Oh, sorry. An honest politician.
Well,
I
that's
will,
better than a unicorn, I guess.
right. I will be ready next week because I'll be, throwing some things in there. But I want to get now. You and your boyfriend, how many years have y'all been together?
We're actually going on 3 in April.
Oh, cool. Okay, so I take it like any couple. Periodically you may have some disagreements, and that doesn't mean full-blown arguments to where somebody walks out the door and says, "I'll be back later," but
Yeah,
yeah, just disagreements.
of course.
Okay, so if I get you two to disagree, that'll be a good thing.
I'm sure we'll probably not see eye to eye on some things.
Good. Now, is he, I don't know. Matter of fact, I don't know that I've met very many of the people since I do volunteer work for the company you work for.
Mhm.
And there's people there that I've never even met. So I don't know if any of those people will wind up watching this video, but if they do, for those of you that I haven't met, I promise you I will meet you someday. It may not be anytime soon, but I will meet you.
He's hard to catch.
Yes.
He's more like Catch Me If You Can.
The movie, I liked that. So we're going to stop this video today, but next week we're going to have Jay back. And this is what she's going by. This is Jay. Well, I'm going to call her Agent Jay because I like Agent Jay better than just Jay or Jay Girl.
I need my
So
sunglasses.
she's going to be
that.
Agent Jay. Yeah, you can put your shades on for next week.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got to put them on now. I got them to
see?
match my
So everybody
outfit.
can see this is Agent Jay, and Agent Jay will be back next week. And if you didn't get that look, it's unfortunate because that was a good look. So this is the Gray-Haired Odd Couple. I hope you have a pleasant weekend. We will see you next Saturday for another broadcast. We'll come on the air about 2. And next week, we're actually going to be opening up our live streaming so that people will be able to come on with questions you'll be able to send to us. And we'll tell you whether or not you have a good question, and if it's not, where you can take it. So enjoy the rest of the week.